What's up, everybody? Here we are with my 1950 Willys CJ, and I just want to do a quick overview so you guys can see what I've done. I've been building it for a year now, and this is where I've gotten to. So I just wanted to have you check it out and see what progress we've made so far. It's hard to remember what all is different from the original just because this is the new normal. And I know that the Willys from the 1940s and 1950s are very different. I don't remember it as well. But I mean, so the biggest things, yeah, so it's got a custom frame. Rather than doing the traditional steering setup with the long steering column that they had originally with the bell crank on the front cross member, I made a regular steering system. So this is a right-hand drive steering box out of a two-door JK. And so that is what I decided to use for steering. One, I think it looks really cool to have it mounted right there. And two, makes it so that I can have a really short front bumper, which just gives me a great approach angle so I can drive up a wall. Pretty cool. I wanted to get rid of the original leaf spring suspension. I wanted to make a new frame just so that it's a fully boxed frame. So I did a long arm suspension with ORIs. I chose to do ORIs over coilovers just because I've never had ORIs before. I wanted to try them out, see what I think of them, just because I know that there is some controversy on this. So one thing on here on the front is you'll notice that this is not the Willys CJ3a grill. This is actually the MB grill from World War II Jeeps. I like the look of these a lot more with the 9 slot instead of the 7 slot. So I had to put it on here. And then I went ahead and did a Highline fender on the front to make sure that I can clear the tires that will be much bigger than this. And so that's where the hood started out. Just did a Highline cut, added a flange, modified the front end so it lines up with the fenders when it's down. And then this is what the engine bay looks like. So here in the engine bay, we have our 3.9 liter LZ9 from the 2007 Pontiac G6, and that is in front of a 5-speed manual transmission from a TJ and a Dana 300 transfer case. So that's the drivetrain sitting in there, and we got our shock hoops set up already for our ORIs. They did 12-inch ORIs all around, which is pretty good amount of travel for these little Jeeps. And then I have it sitting on JK axles. The front's a Dana 30, the rear is a Dana 44. Pretty basic setup there. I did a 3-link suspension in the front with a triangulated suspension in the rear. And the frame is a custom built frame that I made from scratch, designed it on the computer and then made it here. And it has worked out really good so far with fitting everything. And then inside here, I built a custom roll cage that goes in through the dash. One problem that you have with these Willys is since the doorway is so small, I didn't want to have the A-pillar land right here and take away half your door space, so I put it through the dash and hidden out of the way. It looks really nice, and it just makes it so it's more open for people to get in and out. Getting in and out's pretty easy. Just hop in like that. If you want to come on over here, you can see what we got inside. So I just did a GM style tilt steering column. Pretty normal standard stuff here, just so I can tilt the steering wheel up and down. And then I lined out the gauges, made a custom dash there. So this is where my tach and speedometer will go. And then all my other gauges that I decide to do along with heater controls. And then I have my headlight switch and my wiper switch will go here, hazard switch. And this will have a shifter boot covering everything. So it'll all be buttoned up nice and pretty. The way that I mounted the seats, I decided to mount the seats to the roll cage itself using these tabs right here. And then this is the seat belt. The center console will mount here. And that's, I think, pretty much everything there. Everything you see inside here, I made the tub basically from scratch. Kept the cowl from the original. And so here in the tub, if you look closely, you can see that it is not perfect because I made it from scratch. And so everything's a little different. The dimensions are all different from the original tub. I just made it so it looked somewhat original, but cleared the tires that I needed, made it so it could clear the frame and everything. So if you look close, you can see the wheel wells are in there. I made this rear floor with access to the fuel pump right there. All right, so the original Willys CJ3a has a drop-down style tailgate, kind of like a truck. And I wanted to do a built-in tailgate panel like the original MB, which is what the grill is out of. And so I made a custom tailgate panel. And most Willys, actually all Willys from the factory, have a cutout right here for a pintle hitch. And I liked the look of that, but I'm not going to have a pintle hitch, and I needed somewhere to put my fuel filler. So I took the same shape, moved it up in the panel, and then put my fuel filler right there.
The namesake.
The namesake. The name for this Jeep is Lil Willy at this point, and there's in no small part because of that. And then yeah, the license plate will go here. It'll fold down, you know, to fill up and everything. But that's kind of the tailgate, what that looks like. I wanted the body to be more looks than structure, and so everything that I could tie into the frame, I did. This is my first time building a car, especially building a car from scratch, and I don't trust my sheet metal skills very much yet. And so as a part of that, I wanted to make sure that everything that I could tie into the frame and or roll cage, I did. And then the body basically just became just a tub to hold things and not really anything that's super structural. And so everything is tied into the cage. The cage is boxed all the way through. I tied the body into the cage in many places. And then my body mounts, I did traditional rubber body mounts, and that's where each pillar from the roll cage lands, right on top of a body mount. And we'll zoom in on that right now so you can see. So yeah, this is just a traditional body mount right here, right underneath the B pillar on the roll cage. And then I just made an outrigger there. Since I made the whole floor and everything myself, I figured I'd put a sweet little feature in there just so that I can service the vehicle a little bit easier. You'll notice this bar right here is removable right there on that little coupler right there. You can remove that bar. This piece will be removable, this whole section, and it will basically uncover the transmission and the transfer case so I can service everything without having to drop my skid plate, which is actually really nice. I'm really looking forward to having that. And that's actually how I get the transfer case in. I just drop it in through the floor, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, it's a nice thing. So I'm glad I did that. So on the front, the original fenders, they're classic. You know, it's a flat fender Jeep. And so I wanted to make sure to keep a flat fender, but I don't love the look of the original fenders as much. And so I made a modern version. This is how I would imagine that it should be. And so I made it a little bit narrower, tapered it in slightly, and then added a radius. This is made of aluminum, 1/8" aluminum, that is welded and ground smooth, just to look flush and finished and beautiful. And I think it is raised up, I want to say it's like between 2.5 and 3 inches up from the stock fender height. So it gives me quite a bit more clearance and gives it just a little bit more of a sleek look rather than having that full width fender on there. Another cool little detail on this one is the windshield frame itself. This is an original CJ3a windshield frame that I shortened I think it was 4.5 inches that I shortened. So it used to stand about right here, and I cut a big old section out right here to shorten it, just because I lowered the seats down so much, so now you can actually see where you're going. And since I did the Highline fenders, I had to cut off the Willys emblem on the side, and I wanted it still on the Jeep. So I slapped it in the center of the windshield and then made those indentations right there, just so that it looks original. You'd never guess that wasn't an original windshield if you aren't a Willys buff. And so yeah, I think it was kind of a cool little detail to incorporate that into the original. As far as the windshield wipers go, I wanted more of a modern windshield wiper feature. So I took the linkage out of a Jeep YJ and modified it somewhat heavily to get it to fit into here. And then I made a custom wiper cover right here. to cover the motor and the linkage and the like. Everything's covered. On the roll cage itself, I really like the way that it turned out. I love the look of it. The reason that I decided to do a fastback over like a family style cage is mostly just because I love the look of the old Wranglers and the CJs that had the fastback roll bar before they did a full roll cage. Love the look of that. So I wanted to put that in on this one here and then just tied everything together. I will still be doing just standard 3-point seat belts. So that still needs to be welded in. Don't worry, it will be safe at some point. Right now it's not safe. But that will be where my seatbelt mounts there. And then I made an aluminum skin for the roof, which is pretty cool. So that I was able to get that to fit perfectly. And if you look at it from underneath, you can see that it lines up right on these overhead bars there. So everything's tied together. Yeah. And then grab handles to get in and out of, side handles to grip while you're riding. These are the ejector seat handles, is that what you call them?
Yeah.
Ejector seat handle there. Well, here I am building a 1950 Willys, and I get asked why did I choose to build a Willys, and especially since I used to have a 1-ton TJ. And really the biggest reason is because I liked when my TJ had stock axles, you know, Dana 30 in the front, Dana 44 in the rear, 93-inch wheelbase. I love Jeeping in that thing. It was just really fun. And so I wanted to do that again, but still make it look like a super built Jeep. So I had to shrink the body in order to do that, hence the Willys. And I looked all over the place online to see if there had been a build like this, and I have yet to see one exactly like this. And so I wanted to make it, put it out there, see what you guys think.